Hey everyone, I hope it went well for you just listening to this. I'm sorry it's not a human, but we'll do our best until our tech problems are sorted out. So I just wanted to take you through step two. So we've looked at just basically the tabs, the quick guided and expert, not gotten into them very seriously. We looked at cropping, we looked at levels, and then I want to take you just to a couple other really quick adjustments that pretty much all photographers do just when they're starting. Again, not to get into the super artistic and funky images, but just sort of as a base level to start with. So working with our image, if you go to the Enhance tool, the tab that I like probably better than any of them others, go adjust color and use color variations. This is like the most useful place in the world to do it. You can do a lot of the stuff here that you did in levels. You can But what I like here again is that it separates it into like midtones, which is your overall picture, your shadows, your highlights. So you can lighten or darken both of those things. And you like, what I like about this is it gives you the corresponding image on the side, so you know exactly what it looks like. You can also choose how much you want to lighten it with and what your intensity is. So if I click here and click lighten, I'm going to get a totally different look. And we can also see how dramatic everything else changes. So watch your slider and you can adjust it that way. Darken as you see fit. Then you can go into shadows and do the same thing. I darken a lot of shadows, but I like sort of a high contrast image, which is what that brings you. Highlights the same thing. Just be aware that if you're darkening too much, again, you can really see that color change. You can see the white become gray and really murky, and it kind of damages the overall quality. So it's very hard to darken an overexposed photo. It's a lot easier to recover details from a dark photo than it is to recover super exposed photos, because the color, it's just really hard to do. Photoshop doesn't actually do a great job of that. We'll look at lighting effects later, and it's maybe the best way to do it, but in here we'll just sort of look at what this does really well. Saturation is exactly how much color you want something to have. So if I click on super color intensity, it starts to look really, really weird. If I click less, it's eventually going to desaturate completely, and it's going to throw me right into black and white. So just sort of varying scales of what you want that to look. It also offers you the chance to really be specific about where you want color. So you can increase specific colors. You can increase red, decrease red. Maybe you want to add a little bit of green in there, maybe not. You can choose, everything's like hyper kind of wild because my intensity slider is all the way to the right, but you can really choose what you want it to look. And if I don't want to do any of those, undo or reset image, and it's like I never played with it. But it gives you a lot of options within midtone, shadows, and highlights to sort of control. This is just a really, really handy tool to give you a space to kind of tweak the light and tweak the colors. Everything I'm showing you is a little bit dramatic, but often if I have a scene that I want to just bring out the sky a bit more, if the color needs to be a little bit brighter, I'll saturate it here, or I'll add a little bit of blue if I want it to be a different feel. So whatever you do in this one is just a really simple place to start. So if you click OK on there as well, the other thing that you can really do the same thing in Photoshop 5,000 different ways. Like you'll find a tab here, there's the same thing as a tab here. You can do it in guided, you can do it in expert. Another way to adjust your lighting is in here. So you can do your shadows and highlights. And again, just really look at what it does. Lightening, color starts to change, but it doesn't really degrade the image. If I darken the highlights, I start to see some degradation. I start to see a bit of a glow I don't like. It looks a little bit natural, and you can really start to see in the background, you can see the grays coming out. But this can be useful depending on the photo. You can also adjust contrast in here, make it a little bit bolder. Just click OK. Back to Enhance, back to Adjust Lighting. You can also do brightness and contrast. Again, I move my slider over. Maybe I want it really bright. I want a sort of high key sort of feel. Maybe I want it really dark. But again, if you darken things, it's very tough to get a really sharp, not sharp, but it's hard for the image to not be degraded. You'll get a little bit of grain, you'll get interesting colors that you probably will not like. Contrast, low contrast, can't really tell too much on this photo, but high contrast you certainly start to. So you can adjust all of those things there. So for this one, play around to enhance, and you want to go either adjust lighting, shadows, brightness. Here's levels, we've already been there. See, it's just in another place. And then adjust color and color variations. Definitely one of the most handiest places to go in Photoshop. So play around with that, re-record it, or don't re-record it, re-listen if you need to, and have fun editing. We'll catch you on the next one.